Hello everybody. Hello Chaman. Hello Shrikar, Renuka, and everybody else who joined in today. Thank you so much. This is my stream number 3 only. So I'm super excited with all the learnings. Like every stream, I'm learning something new from all the feedback you all are giving me, and it just is helping me understand. Exactly right. This is how we start a conversation. So like today we're gonna talk about how do you start a conversation, and it's hard. Like the biggest challenge, it's like when the conversation starts, people are like, "Acha, abhi easy hai," and I get that. But the hardest part is when you're starting a conversation is to actually start a conversation, and that's what we're gonna talk about today, right? So while I'm talking about this, I want all of you who are in the stream today, just like let me know in the comments, like what are some of the challenges when it really comes to starting a conversation. So if I tell you, Shrikar, start a conversation right now, what is stopping you? Just put that in the chat so I can understand better, like what the roadblocks are. Yeah, where's your cap? That's a very good idea, dude. I actually got the cap here. You know what? I'm gonna just wear that. Let's see. So true, man. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you, Chaman. I've got the cap on now. So, most people, when it comes to starting a conversation, the biggest fear is they start thinking too much in advance. What will I say? Um, the thinking goes something like, "Acha, if I say this, then what will be the second thing I'll say? What is the next thing you will say?" And basically, we operate in a linear manner, which is if I say this, then these are the next things I have to say. But think about the conversation you have with your friends, like your best friend, right? So, Ritesh, welcome, namaste. So, let's say Ritesh is having a conversation with his best friend, right? And let's say that Ritesh and Monish are best friends, and Monish and Ritesh are having a conversation. So, Ritesh and Monish know each other for a long time. So for them, think about the conversation they'll have. They'll just start talking like, "Hey man, are you watching Mirzapur, or are you watching Ray, this new like show on Netflix?" And like I like Manoj Bajpayee, and they're just starting the conversation. That is no different than starting any other conversation. And like Chaman is really right. When I think about this, Chaman says I always get stuck with what the other person would think, how to overcome that. And Chaman, so the thing is, when you are actually having a conversation, you have to really, really believe that what you are saying is worth like $1 million, right? So whenever I say something, I really respect what my opinions are, and I don't go from the perspective of what the other person is gonna think, because this is your perspective. Let's say that you don't like something, right? Let's say everybody likes chocolate, and you're like, I don't like chocolate. There are people I met people who are like, I hate that gooey brown color thing, and I'm like, are you crazy? I love chocolate. So the thing is, it's your opinion, which is why you have to respect it, and you can't focus on what other people are going to think about it, right? And the sooner you start getting away from the perspective of what the other person is thinking, you can truly express yourself. And when you truly can express yourself, other people start to resonate with you. And that's where the conversation becomes easier, right? And Subrajit, welcome to the stream as well. So, a lot of times when we are talking or starting a conversation, we have all these things in our head, like Chaman is saying, like, what is Manish gonna think? What is Subrajit gonna think? But they're not really thinking anything. They're not. It's in our head. So right now in my head, I can think that, oh, what are all these people gonna think in the stream? They might be thinking like, oh, this is stupid, this is shit. Those are just voices in my head. I need to stop them. I need to really stop them. And instead, what I need to focus on is just starting the conversation. Literally just starting the conversation, right? And yes, Monish, you're right. Conversation with friends are easy because we know about them. But there's something more, Monish. When you're talking with friends, yes, you know about them, but let's say, Monish, your best friend likes to play video games. You don't talk about video game all the time, man. You talk about different stuff. And the reason why you feel comfortable is because you trust them not to judge you. You don't worry about really, if I say this, they will think this. You don't really think about all those things. So the judgment that you have, like the judgment on yourself, like what I'm gonna say, what are they gonna think, is gone. And that's why it becomes so easy. That trust is built. And when it comes to strangers, you have to operate from the same paradigm. Like, think about it. I have not met any of you in my real life. So technically, you all are strangers to me, and I'm a stranger to you. But by starting the conversation, right? I literally started the conversation today, and then all of you are giving me feedback. Like, you guys are putting in the comment and chat, it's giving me understanding and perspective. Like, oh, I think Monish wants to talk more about this, and let's go a little bit that way. So the hardest part of starting a conversation, whether it's you're in a meeting room, whether you see someone at a coffee shop, whether it's like online conversation, whatever that might be, it's literally starting it. And the best advice if you all can take away from today's stream is going to be this: it does not matter what you say. I'm not even kidding. Like, what you initially say does not matter, because nobody remembers this. Monish, when you talk to your friend, think about this, Monish. When you talk to your friend a week ago, and I asked you, Monish, what was the first thing you said to your friend? What was the first few lines? You'll be like, I said hello, what's up? And you don't remember. Exactly. You don't remember what you said. Our memory span is very short and limited. You're just going to remember how it made you feel, or maybe some key topic you talked about. Like, oh, we talked about going to Goa. You might remember the key point, but you don't remember everything in that conversation. Unless you taped it, of course. So, my point is, whenever you start a conversation with someone, what you say initially really does not matter. Because when you start the conversation, you just say something like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Then you take it forward from there. And then it's like you have opportunities to keep on improving the conversation, making it better, learning more about the other person, and then going forward with that. So the way I operate is, like, I started the stream, right? I just said, like, hey, welcome everyone, this is stream 3, and then boom, just started. Literally, when I do all these streams, I have a topic in mind, and I have some ideas I want to talk about, and that's it. And then I just literally wing it as the ideas come to me. And that's literally the way it goes. This is literally how I start every conversation. So when you're talking with strangers, Monish, just start. Literally just start a conversation. I don't care if it's a girl or a guy, just start a conversation. When you start a conversation, like I'm starting this conversation, I've started this conversation with all of you, you're giving me feedback, right? So for example, what I mean by feedback. So Chaman just said, like, he gave me more feedback. Like, we're having this conversation and he's giving me more feedback. So this feedback is giving me more stuff to talk about as we go. Like, for example, in our conversation, Chaman is like, but sometimes the facial expression is like that. I don't like to talk to that person. Like, Chaman, I don't really, I pay attention to the people's facial expression, but some people have, like, what do you call, it's, like, they just, like, their natural expression is very, like, angry. I can't even do that expression, but it's like, they just look like that, man. That's just how their natural look like. But they could be, like, I know a guy who looks like that. You would think like he's some kind of like Don or Gunda or something, but he's the sweetest guy I know. But that's his natural resting face. So you can't always just judge by the facial expression that, oh, this person looks like they're not good. They're not going to be easy to talk to. Because once you talk to that person, right? And he has this expression like, and you say hello, like, hey, suddenly that expression changed. But it all happened literally because you started that conversation. You see what I'm saying? So my point to you is that don't worry about like what their expression looks like. Just start the conversation. And what's the worst that can happen, Shaman? You start a conversation with Monish. You're like, hey. Monish is like, hey, what's going on? Oh, there's nothing. Okay. Seems like Monish is busy and doesn't want to carry the conversation forward. That's it. You had nothing to lose. But you tried. You put yourself out there to have a conversation with a stranger like Monish. That's what you did. Now, on the other side, Monish will always be like, hey, nice to talk to you. What are you doing? And then boom, the conversation kicks off. There's a 50-50 chance. My point is you have to take the chance. And how do you take the chance? By starting the conversation. Literally, there's no secret formula. Like, if you think that in this stream I'm gonna give you some secret formula, like this is the magic bullet. Like, if you say this, then that's the perfect way to start a conversation. There's no perfect way. Everybody's different. And so thank you, Manish. Sorry, thank you, Chaman. My point is, this pitch, dude, it took me years of practice. It took me years and years of practice. So, like, I had a lot of coaches, man, who helped me out. So, for example, when I would say hey to someone, right? Like, I had this weird thing in my voice. I would say, hey. I'm not even making this up, but I had this like weird, like, I don't know, like singer like Himesh Reshamya type, like this like weird pitch that would go up. So the feedback was like, no, just say hey, hey, hey. Just like flat. Like, you know, none of that like, hey, none of that, right? So I practice a lot, man, on that pitch. I practice a lot again and again. It doesn't just happen overnight. You have to practice it. You have to speak. You have to put in the reps. Like, I'm putting in the reps here. So the way you look at me now versus like stream 100 is going to be very different. So the thing is, this is a small thing that will help you, right? The pitch and stuff. But for that to happen, man, you have to start a conversation and practice. Oh my God. This is oh my God. You guys are crazy. Manish, I don't want to make this into a, a dating, a coaching class or something, but because the focus of this conversation is going to be about literally just starting the conversation, right? So once again, as I repeat, the number one rule about all of this is literally just start a conversation. And you're gonna feel that. Like a lot of times, Manish, even if it's your, like crush in real life or in person, whoever that person is, you're like a business meeting, you want to talk to someone, you are gonna be worried about it, that what if they don't, and the biggest fear is this, that if I start a conversation, what if they don't reciprocate? What if they're like, just, hey, or they don't even respond to me, which is fine. At the end of the day, what I feel is I'm creating opportunities for myself. And I'm also giving opportunities for other people to get to know me. Now, if they don't want to get to know me, that's their choice. I can't be offended by that. But what I have to do instead is just put myself out there as much as possible, like at design events, networking, wherever you're going, and just see who resonates with me. And sometimes the conversations will go somewhere and you'll make best friends for life. Sometimes it won't go anywhere. Sometimes you will like start a conversation and it leads to your next job. Possible, right? It is very much possible. What I found in my life is basically have desires but don't have expectations. So when I start a conversation with someone, a stranger, whoever that is, I don't have any expectations. I have desires like, okay, I wish this would go here or go there, but I don't have any expectations. I start a conversation very chill, very low key. If let's say me and Manish are in a room, we don't even know each other, I'll be like, hey Manish, what's going on? Do you like the food here? Something very basic. There's not even like some kind of cheesy line or like super excited. It's just very chill. Like, hey Manish, what's going on stuff. And Manish will be like, yeah man, like I had the pizza, it was pretty good. I'm like, oh, what pizza did you have? Cheese pizza? I'm like, oh no man, I just had like the cheese crust pizza and then I had some soda. That's it. So literally that's all I do. Very simple. Just start the conversation. Then Manish should be like, yeah man, like I just don't like the pizza, man. I'm a Domino's guy. Boom, right there. Right there in the conversation, Manish revealed to me that he's passionate about Domino's. So now all I have to do is, oh really? So how long have you had Domino's pizza? He's like, man, ever since I was like 15, I was having Domino's pizza. There you go. So now what happens is the more I'm talking to him, the more the timer keeps on going. Manish is himself giving me more ammunition to talk about. Like he mentioned, he's a Domino's lover. He's mentioned he's like having Domino's since he's 15. So literally, I don't have to think about what else I want to talk about. he's just giving me stuff he cares about, and then I just talk about that. Now, once we talk about the common interest areas, then let's say it's a business conversation or something, then I can slowly pivot to like, so by the way, Monish, where do you work and what do you do? And then I can slowly pivot there. But initially, it's all about building that trust. And then let's see, Subhrajit is like, Subhrajit, welcome. Often my mouth becomes dry while talking to someone, and eventually there's the awkward silence. So, man, you gotta stay hydrated. So right now I'm gonna drink some water. So the thing, Subhrajit, is that when you're talking to someone, you don't want to just keep on going on a monologue, like just talking, 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 talking. You want to take pauses. You see that I took a pause and swallowed my own saliva. So that basically prevents my mouth from becoming dry. See? I literally just took like 15-second pause. And that gave me enough time to like just like swallow some saliva and make sure my mouth is not dry. It's okay to take pauses. By taking these pauses, Subhrajit, is how I avoid this long, awkward silence. And sometimes I listen. So let's say if my mouth is getting dry, I might just be like, so Subhrajit, tell me a little bit about you. What's going on with you? Now I just sit back, take some breather, take some rest, and now let the other person speak. So the more you do this, the better you'll get. And man, I speak for a living, dude. So in a way, like I'm always teaching, I'm doing all these things. So with practice, your endurance and stuff will also go higher. We'll get less dry and stuff, and you'll be able to manage that. So just realize that with practice, it'll get better, but it's okay to take pauses. Exactly, Monish. If you're stimulated, you automatically start a conversation. That's all I'm doing. I just set off like cool vibes. I chat with people and then see where that takes me. Sometimes it goes somewhere, sometimes it just doesn't go anywhere. It's fine. But see, it's a game of numbers. If I start 100 conversations, think about this way, Monish. If I start 100 conversations, 10 of them will be, like you said, stimulating or like it'll be kind of like cool. Like might go, like those 10 conversations out of 100 might go above 30 minutes or an hour. Out of those 10 conversations, 3 would result into like something meaningful. Like we become friends, we might start like a partnership, uh, some new business or like networking to get a job or something. And out of those 3, one will be exactly what I want. Like the conversation led to me getting a job at the company or me becoming best friends with the person or me getting to know the person. So when you look at that, it's also a game of numbers. Like from 100 down to 100, down to like 10, down to like those 3, down to that 1. So think about it from that perspective. Like you need to have like a bigger funnel size to kind of slowly go in. So if you just say that, oh, I started a conversation with one person today, did not go anywhere, look at your sample size. It's only just 1, right? You need to increase it. I mean, yes. You don't want to just like, if I'm talking right now and I don't want to pause like this, but if I'm strategic about it, I can say, so, Manish, I'm going to talk now and pause now. What do you think? So this one is better than the previous one. So with practice, you will eventually become strategic where you want to pause. You're not just gonna like say something and pause immediately. And another thing is people speak very, very fast, man. When you speak a little bit slowly, people understand you better. You captivate their attention. It gives you time to breathe. Think about the next sentence. Avoid getting a dry throat as well. Like when I'm speaking or when I'm thinking, like I'm Gujarati, man. So like in Gujarati when I'm thinking and stuff, it's super fast. Like it will be something like so it goes so fast, man. And when I speak in this speed, in my mind, it sounds like I am speaking so slowly. That's how I feel like I sound in my head, but to outside people, it sounds normal. So often I would say speaking slowly rather than fast is also a good idea. Shikar, yes, oh my god. Most people, man, they just listen because they want to start. It's like if me and you're talking, I should be genuinely listening to you and curious instead of being like, oh, I'm just listening because when is it my turn to speak? That's not the way um, we want to approach conversation because when you truly listen, you can notice their expression, you can notice their facial expressions and stuff. You can figure out, like if Monish is a Domino's pizza person, I can really figure out because I'm listening. If I'm just waiting for him to stop and start my own conversation, it's like instead of going with the flow, I'm just talking about things I want to talk about. This is the hardest thing to practice, Shrikar, which is genuinely just listening. Genuinely just listening to the person, right? And not listening just because it's your turn to speak. Yes, Chaman, my Gujarati is super, super fast, which is why, when I'm speaking in English, I have to slow down because English as a language is not meant to be that fast as like Hindi or Gujarati and stuff. So I have to really be conscious of that people understand. Because when you speak very fast, like when I speak very fast, just like in your case, Chaman, you had to like strain your brain to really catch up to what I'm saying. So if I want the conversation to be effortless, to be easy, to be smooth, I need to speak slowly so you don't have to like really listen and pay extra horsepower, is being used up to understand what I'm saying. Which is why taking pauses, slowly speaking slowly really helps you out. Yes, absolutely. Um, I absolutely would like Srikar's comment as well. um, so what I want to do is really like just emphasize the point that don't overthink this. And I think today's stream might not be that long compared to the other ones because I really want to keep the stream really high, dense, and value packed instead of just like going on for hours and hours. Um, Instead of wasting time, reading blogs and videos and paying some dating gurus like thousands of rupees, right? Like tell me how to start a conversation. There's no silver bullets. The best advice I can give you is you have to overcome that fear and just start a conversation. Majority of the time if you start a conversation, it will eventually take a path of its own, right? If I want to go from Ahmedabad to Bombay, I have to start my car. And then eventually along the way, right, where I will find, the destination. But if I don't even start and I just keep on Googling, like, what is the best way, the best route, the best time to go, I'll never make progress. And that's the best advice that worked for me. When I was scared about starting a conversation, I was so afraid. I was so much afraid. Um, I had moved from India to the US in 2012, and I was so afraid that people are gonna, what are they gonna think about my accent? Are they gonna judge me? There's so many foreign topics here. What are these, foreign people gonna think about me? And the best advice that helped me is just starting the conversation. Once you start a conversation, you can get more feedback. But if you don't even start a conversation, then, I mean, it's like you're just always gonna like avoid starting a conversation and keep on reading all these stuff to make you feel better. Like, oh, I'll read more blog posts, more books, more courses. You have to enter the arena. You have to enter the arena and actually practice. Without that, all this is just bullshit. It's just like talk, 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 talk. So, once again, literally, I'm saying this, start a conversation, right? And if you're a designer, what I want to talk about real quick is some of you might already have done this, but I have a free 7-day email course. It's to level up your design career. So if you haven't, I would say sign up for this email course. I'm going to put the link to this in the chat. Right? So this is a free email course, 7 days. It talks about a lot of this, like overcoming that fear, like we just talked about today when you're starting the conversation. So check that out as well, if you haven't signed up. And then something else I want to talk about is going to be about like the stream that we have, like the next stream I'm going to have on next Friday, right? So the stream I'm going to be doing next Friday is going to be about, if you're in college, should you sit for campus placements or pursue design as a career? If you're interested in becoming a designer, but you're like, oh, I have this campus placement, should I prepare for that or not? Or should I just like go all in on design? What should I do? So this, if this is something of interest to you, I'm going to be sharing the link to this in the chat. Definitely sign up for this event if you're interested. This is a good question from Monish. Didn't you feel embarrassed at the start when someone is correcting your accent in the middle of a conversation? No, Monish. I actually asked people, I asked my American friends that, I said, hey, Kyle, I want you to correct the words. Like, for example, I'll give you, when you say the word coat, right? In the US, coat means like a coat, the coat that you wear. You have to pronounce it quote. Quote is this quote, and coat is this coat. So I would actually ask Kyle, like, hey, Kyle, correct me. I'm not embarrassed because the thing is, it's feedback for me, Monish. It's feedback for me to improve. And to answer your question, nobody, like, I don't remember anybody ever like interrupting me in the middle of it and correcting my accent. Nobody ever did that. I'm not even joking. It was me after the conversation asking them, like, Monish, is there something I can improve about my accent or something? So that's how it was. It was never like, I mean, people are not like douchebags in real life, Monish. Like, they're not going to be like, stop, time out, your accent is bad, shut up right now. Man, people don't do that, dude. You got to do you. So again, like I said, this is a fear that we have in our head. And I had this fear the whole time, but you know, a lot of times I would do these conversations. Nobody ever stopped me, man. Like, you look at the Sundar Pichai, like, you know, as a Google CEO, he's speaking on stage, man. You can hear the Indian accent when he's saying the word H2O, right? Like, South Indians will emphasize on the H, H2O. Dude, do you think he's like waiting and pausing, like, oh, okay, Google, stop this kind of, like, you know, like live stream just because I said this? No, man, that's him. It's a part of you, right? So the thing is, these are all the things in our head, right? These are the inner demons, the voices in our head that are stopping us from actually going out and having these conversations, right? Because literally when we think about this, we're like, okay, man, they're going to stop me mid-sentence, so maybe I shouldn't have a conversation. I shouldn't start a conversation. This is your battle. These are the things you need to overcome, because the faster you do that, the faster you're going to actually go and start more conversations. Again, gotta stay hydrated. Means a lot, Monish. I'm so glad that this stream was helpful to you. It really, really means a lot. Awesome. Okay, so for the last time before you all get tired of me, I put the link for the email course. If you haven't signed up for that, and then the next event is going to be about should you sit for placements or should you pursue design career? Which one should you do? So I'm going to I will also send a link for that in the chat. So check that out as well. And remember, the best way to start a conversation is just start a conversation. Literally just start a conversation. Don't worry too much about formulas like, should I say this way? Should my pitch be this way? Should I be looking this way? Should I be looking this way? All those things don't matter. Because initially you need sample data points. You need more practice. Like all these like expert tips only help you. Like the pitch and stuff when you actually are starting conversation, when you're feeling comfortable starting a conversation with anybody. That's when these small tips help you. But until that point where you're not comfortable starting conversation with people, whether you're an introvert or not, it doesn't matter. And here's the thing, if you say like, well, I'm an introvert, I'm not an extrovert like you. See, when you say the word introvert, to me, it means like introvert as a person is just a label that society's created. Like extrovert, someone who talks a lot. Introvert, someone who talks less. It's not that. Introvert is just someone who talks more with person she's built a trust with. That's what it is, an introvert. An extrovert is someone that doesn't need to build a trust and starts talking away with anybody. That's all there is. I have a lot of introvert friends who talk a lot. And I'm like, please, right? Literally, like, they'll talk a lot. So, even as an introvert, your biggest strength is you can listen very well. It takes two people to start a conversation or continue a conversation. If you're an introvert, just put in a little bit of effort to start the conversation and then just listen. Just listen attentively. That's your super strength. And then ask them more questions. So tell me more. Why? Why did you say that? What? And just like give them a platform to keep on, like talking about what they want to talk about. So as an introvert, it's also great because you can genuinely listen, right? And respond to them as you feel right. As Srikar was saying, you have to genuinely listen. So that's the power of being an introvert. So don't let this label stop you from starting a conversation like, oh, I'm an introvert. Man, like I don't even know how I'm going to start the conversation. Don't. You have the biggest strength, which is you can listen for hours and hours. You guys are good listeners. Use that. Because if I'm having a conversation with someone, a lot of times I'm tired. I'm bored. So I'll just be more of like a listener and genuinely just listen. I'll ask them, so what was your day like? They're like, oh, well, I was stuck in traffic today. Oh, really? Like, oh, wow, okay, cool. What kind of car do you drive? Is it comfortable when you're sitting in traffic? And they'll be like, oh, I bought this car and this is a car. I'm like, so, oh, wow. So why did you buy that car? And I just listen. And they'll go for like 10 minutes about why they bought that car, why is their favorite car, what color of the car there is. I just listen. And they're like, man, you're such a good listener. I had a blast. Thank you. Let's keep in touch. In the entire 30-minute conversation, I literally said 3 things. Hey, what's going on? How's your day going? Why did you buy that car? 3 things. That's it. 3 things. And they connected with me. So even listening strongly and genuinely listening for listening can help you build great connections. Same way as starting a conversation and seeing where that takes you. So my takeaway challenge for all of you today is this. In the next week, start a conversation with a stranger. Anybody. Like you go to a coffee shop and they're taking the coffee like, oh, what's going on? Why do you get that coffee? Just simple conversation. Just very simple. Just start a conversation. The reason why I'm saying this is I want you to overcome that fear. Even if you're going to a restaurant, doesn't matter. Even talking to like the waiter there is starting a conversation. Just start a conversation. My main challenge for you is to overcome that fear, the hesitation that you have about like, oh man, like, what are they going to think? Just simple. You have 1 week, just start a conversation with anybody. Doesn't matter. It could be small, as simple as like, hey, hope your day's going good. They're like, yeah. Even if they don't respond, I don't care. It counts as success in my book because you tried and put in the effort to start a conversation. All right? So with that, I want to thank all of you for joining today's stream. Thank you. Thank you so much. And once again, I'll see you all in the next stream, next Friday, which is going to be about should you sit for campus placements or should you pursue a career in design? With that, namaste.